عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
If you have an idea for a show and want to get involved, email info@salamradio.co.uk.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the In the Spotlight show, only on 106.2 Slam Radio, entertaining you guys for the next hour. As always, we bring you a variety of talented guests, not only on today's show, but also over the next few episodes, showcasing their stories. So stay tuned and locked in. Whether it's personal achievements, career goals hit, success stories from really testing events, wherever the story we want to hear. This show is all about providing you, the listener, a platform to showcase your talent or success story. So catch us weekly on Tuesdays between 7 and 8 p.m. So guys, today we have our special guest, Junaid Halil, on which he'll be speaking about everything Ramadan with a special live nasheed performance to close off the show. We'll be playing the 60 seconds in the spotlight quickfire round, plus a roundup of upcoming guests we're hoping to have on the show. Guys, we really want to hear from you today, so why not get in touch by calling us on 01733 602 133 or text us on 07411 191062. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, drop us a comment or any questions you may have. Ladies and gentlemen, for everyone listening to us live on air, you have drove around Peterborough. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. So guys, slight technical hitch there. So yeah, I've drove around Peterborough over quite some time and realised some really unique art of displays on walls or other landmarks. Did you ever wonder who was responsible for this artwork or why they do what they do? You may have seen a painting and thought, wow, that actually looks really good, and wonder how long it may have took them. Well, today, I'm so excited to announce we have as our guest one of the most exciting talents in Peterborough, someone who has been honing his skill with a spray can for over 25 years, whom now has seen his work go viral with celebrities such as Ice-T and Prodigy publicly commentating on his work. One who views his hometown of Peterborough as a blank canvas, has single-handedly changed the visual landscape through a wide range of murals. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to bring you Nathan, our very own street artist, to the show. Nathan, first of all, welcome to In the Spotlight show.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a strange day, but
No
I'm
way.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I've had a bit of a strange day, but I'm all right. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Has it been quite a busy day? I know you
Yeah.
were getting stuck in traffic on the way here, wasn't it?
Yeah, everything that could go wrong today kind of has done. So yeah, it's not the smoothest of days that I've had. So,
No
but
way.
yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, you get those days. It's all about just getting back up and just kind of striving for it, etc. So, Nathan, the reason why we brought you on the show is to kind of talk about your career, your absolutely fantastic work that we've seen around Peterborough, and just to understand your journey.
Yeah,
and I've
sure.
also got my guest, Junaid Halil, who's going to help me out with the questions today.
Okay.
Etc. And we're going to also chat to him towards the end of the show. So Junaid, do feel free to pop any questions you may have for Nathan too. But honestly, Nathan, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. So just to kind of start from scratch, if you were to take it to the start of your journey, Nathan.
Yeah, sure.
What was it that inspired you to pursue this journey of yours, which ultimately led into street art?
So I grew up in Eastfield, an area that has its problems, and just a group of kids I was hanging around with my friend one day was like, right, yeah, like we should start doing graffiti. So I just sort of went along. We made a little crew and we started sort of just getting into trouble, like early signs of trouble. And I think it was a point in my life where other people around me, they were possibly going in other troublesome directions, and then I kind of like stuck with graffiti. So, and I always said to people, it's like, you know, I come from a loving family, but just the area around me was presented challenges, and that's how I kind of ended up on this path of writing my name where I shouldn't. And it kind of all started there. And at the time, I never knew that it'd take me to where I am now. I never foresee anything. It was just being mischievous at that time in life. You know, that was kind of what it was. And then I think as I got a little bit older, people started doing more, you know, more different crimes, shall we say? And then I just stuck to, I really like graffiti as a place that occupied my time, or I don't know if I'd call it an outlet. I guess, yeah, it was something that gave me some kind of focus and something to be passionate about. That was kind of where it started.
I was thinking who graffitied my garden walls when we were young. Yeah. Oh, no. Nathan, come on. So you say you started this when you were young age. Do you know what sort of age range? Was it back in school days?
I was year 7, would have been 13. So it was 1999.
Wow. And you grew up locally in Peterborough?
Yeah. I lived with my mum in Eastfield. I've been born in Peterborough. My dad lived like Russell Street, Glasgow Street. So I used to spend like odd weekends around that area, and then I lived Eastfield way.
Did you go to school around Eastfield area?
Yeah, I went to Newark Hill, and then it turned to Hereward. So it was East Home, changed to Hereward. So the first year changed to Hereward. That's when I went there. So.
We were Hereward. Do you know you were Hereward too?
Okay.
For a couple of months, yeah.
Right, okay.
But I won't tell you what year, it'll make you feel old, so I won't tell you what year.
So you don't look that old. Right.
Yeah, because I think I was the final year just before Deacons took over. So when everyone switched over, I think there was actually a year after me, then they switched over.
Yeah. Did you do sixth form at TDA?
Yeah. No, the Deacons, sorry. So before they done the academy.
So the year before it became the academy, yeah, okay.
Damn, small world.
Back in the days, we might add.
Yeah. No, exactly. So predominantly you would have been in school then. How did you kind of balance your studies with learning the trade of art at the same time?
My dad's always drawn. So, some people say, it's something you kind of inherit. But I guess I drew from a fairly young age. It didn't evolve into graffiti till sort of 2000. But I sort of started doing it around 99. But yeah, I just, I don't know. School for me was, I was capable. I was in the higher sort of sets at school, higher learning sort of sets in school. But my wife's a teacher, and I always say to her, like, I didn't feel school is designed for people like me. Although I was capable, that whole learning environment didn't like suit the way my mind works. So yeah, I feel okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I didn't take school as serious as I could, but it was just, I just didn't feel like I fit the environment. Like that was more the issue for me. Like that type of learning, like reading books and trying to remember stuff was not a way I learn. I think quite visually. I can picture stuff in my mind, so I can read and picture. But trying to retain massive amounts of information was just not my forte. And then I first got in trouble. I first got arrested in, God, I don't know actually. I think I first got arrested when I was 14, but not for graffiti, for something else.
Oh, wait, what's this is what we put you on the spotlight.
It's fine. I always say to people, I talk openly about my past, talk openly about my life, and I'm very comfortable with it's maybe the person I am. So I first got in trouble with some other people before I got in trouble for graffiti after that. I didn't get my first conviction was graffiti, but I was in trouble before that with the police and stuff. So, and that was, I think it was the fork where I was going that way or that way. But I say, school, I don't know. I used to draw all over my school books. I've still got a load of them now, like outlines and we did. I wrote my name all over the school, and yeah, it was. I don't know. It was at a time where I didn't know where life was going to go. I didn't understand, like how I do now.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that I took too seriously.
And I think that's completely fine, because not education is for everyone. The most successful people in the world, didn't actually stay in education. They carried on, they done their own job, they made their own companies. So there's always quite a few routes to take in life.
So, Shadi, I've just got a question. So, Nathan, off the back of, like, you call it graffiti, but was it sort of significant art to you? Is it something that meant to you in that time of your life? So, what were you sort of tagging or spraying?
Yeah. So in them early days, it was literally tagging, and so we're talking early to 0 days of the internet. The internet wasn't really a thing. We were kind of inspired by other people's names that were around us. In fact, the only place that had internet that I know of was at school. So like where I grew up, if you had a PC in your house, you were rich. So no one in my street.
AOL,
yeah, that's it. No one in my street had a PC. So it's like the only time we'd see a PC was at school, in the school library, and it'd be like dial up internet, and there was no the information around graffiti was limited. So it was the environment that we see. Yeah.
No, fair play. Who would you say was the most influential person during the early stages of your career? Could it be like a certain family member, or did you watch someone actually do art and you thought, that's what I inspired to be like, I want to learn from this person's tagging or just general art?
Yeah, I mean, there's other artists in the city that I aspired to in the graffiti culture. I didn't know them as people, but I knew them as their aliases that were written on the walls.
Okay.
And where it kind of started as I got older, it was what graffiti showed me. So graffiti taught me from an early age, like, there's no prejudice in graffiti, black, white, rich, poor, like religion, none of that matters. We share an interest in one thing and we come together for that. And that's something that where I grew up didn't show me. It's something that school didn't show me. It was a culture showed me how people can be unified. And through that culture I met some drug addicts quite early on. I met people of different backgrounds, religions. It's like it opens me up to a higher engagement level of people of different backgrounds. That's what kind of inspired me, drew me in. Was like, I can be. No one cares about where I'm from or what I've done. It's like we've all got this one thing, and that something I never found anywhere else in life, and was one of the most interesting parts of the culture for me. So that's what drew me in, really. And it's
that's amazing, because that was going to follow up to my next question. I can see the passion in your eyes, but more so around the work that you've done around the city. What is it that you love about the art that kind of inspires you to keep carrying on? I know you just mentioned a few things there. Is there like a headline fact that you think, okay, I need to keep doing this because this is the reason why it's motivating me?
I always say to people, like, I never did art to make money. I did art because I loved it.
Express yourself.
Yeah, it was, the culture, being a part of something, being part of kind of a secret club was where I kind of come into and met all these people. It got to a point where people started to say, oh, can you paint this for me? Can you paint that? So I started making a little bit of money. I was still doing my day job, still had no intention of like doing graffiti for a living. And then it sort of evolved from there. I got busier and busier. My last normal job, I was a health and safety manager for nearly 10 years. So I worked at Fairline Yachts in Oundle. I wear short shirt, trousers. And when I started there, I thought, this is going to be my last job. They're a prestigious British company. We make yachts, yachts 75 foot, like beautiful things. So I thought, that's where I'm going to live. That's where I'm going to spend the rest of my career, my life. Yeah. And then I just got busier and busier, and it come to a point where, my wife said to me, you got to make a choice. You got to do one or the other. I was 32 at the time, and I thought, I'm young enough to take the risk, and if I don't do it, I'll regret it forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it. I had a conversation with my boss said, oh, let's talk about your future. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to do this. And I'm in a shirt and trousers, all my tattoos are covered at work. And my other boss said to me, he's like, you're leaving here to draw on walls, and I was like, it's not quite that, but like he couldn't understand
This is the
it.
life, mate.
You know, like he lives in Marbella, like they roll around on yachts, so he's like looking at me like you're leaving this yacht company to go draw on things, and I was like, it's not quite like that. But then, you know, I lasted another 3. They gave me a pay rise to stay. I lasted 3 months, and then my heart was telling me I have to do this, so I was on 3 months' notice, so I basically worked 6 more months. Yeah. I left the business, and then within the first 9 months of leaving the company, so I left in June, July 2018. In March 2019, I went viral for the first time. My Keith Flint Prodigy painting did 2.5 million views organically on my pages alone.
Oh wow!
But what that This is where this comes into context here. So people from all around the world that I'd never met sent me messages that they had a connection to something I'd done. So I had all these strangers telling me how wonderful it was. I had strangers telling me that they created an emotional connection, and this was the start of the change in like not only, you know, people are paying me at this point to do artwork, but it's like now. I feel like I've made an impact on people, which was something I never intended or tried to do, and it was really rewarding. And then you know, it evolved past that. I went globally viral again in 2020. So I did an anti-racism painting down near Taverners Road.
I see that with the fist. Was it the fist?
I did the heart first. So I did a heart of black hand and white hand making a heart. Painted it in November 2019. And then it went globally viral in, I think, June 2020. Right. So 7 months after I painted, because of George Floyd. Yeah. And what happened was a lady from Minnesota, where George Floyd was, she messaged me. She said, I'm a white lady. She said, my family are torn. Like, you know, some believe that the police were just and some don't. And she said, I looked over the internet and I found this picture. And she said, I believe it's you. And that just blew my mind, that this lady from Minnesota had tracked me down to Peterborough and managed to email me. And so she started,
what feeling?
Yeah, like that was surreal. And then so she started to use the profile, my photos, my painting as a profile picture. That started trending. And then, it sort of, before I knew it, Ice-T got it and it blew up. But again, where this comes into context, I did a second piece following that on Taverners Road. And I think he was an old Asian gentleman stopped me, and he was like, he was so happy to meet me, and he told me I'd been on ZTV, like, which is like yeah.
That is
you know, at the time I didn't know what.
Made it if you're on ZTV,
I didn't know what it was, and he was like, "You Nathan?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You was on ZTV." Like, he was so excited to meet me, and he hugged me and he said to me, "Thank you for making my area beautiful." And again, it was at that moment I sort of thought, like, it was like I never knew that I had this power, that like I could make people feel that good. Absolutely. And that I'll always remember that moment, and always thought, right, I want to do art for people. Yeah. I want to do art for people that, you know, maybe he don't get to see art, like particularly I do every day. So I want to bring art in places where, you know, I grew up in an area of poverty, and it's like, where we didn't really, other than graffiti art, like, art's not something we would intend to go and see or look at. So I was like, I want to bring art to people that wouldn't normally look at it, or people who can't afford to look at it. So like, I started to try to do more artwork in areas that you know, maybe it's not part of their life. Yeah. And I say it was them, it all led up to that interaction with that guy. I say I never got his name, but I'll always remember we were stood outside Khan's store on the corner, and like he was so excited. And he hugged me, and he was like so thankful that I took time to do something that improved where he lived. And I say, like, it was a conversation I'll remember forever. And then that inspired me to do what I do more now, and like, make a difference through pictures on walls.
I can imagine, because, you know, it's kind of showcasing your purpose, understanding why you're doing what you're doing, but also now receiving that acknowledgement from, you know, just random people coming up to you. And, you know, that must be a great feeling. Just to give a shout out, Ishfaq Ali, mentioned obviously he knows you. He's saying obviously you're a top lad, he knows you for a few years, etc. So, you know, anyone else who wants to drop a comment, do contact us on Facebook Live, or give us a call straight in the studio. We do have Nathan here for a short while more. Nathan, like I've seen quite a few of your artwork pieces around Peterborough, and honestly, they look absolutely amazing. Hence why we say, you know, it's an absolute privilege having you here. Which one stood out for you the most? I know one on Bright Street
Yes.
may have took a bit of time because I know there was a stop delays,
Yes,
etc.,
yeah,
because of
yeah.
the weather, or there's a couple other things going on, and that's probably the one we're more familiar with, being from the
Driving
Millfield
past it.
area.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I want to know what's
Yeah.
your favorite piece, but I also want to know how did that come about, that specific piece?
The Bright Street one.
Yeah.
So I've been interested in that wall for a long, long time, and my dad actually lived not in that end. Them flats in the first 2 or 3 rows. My dad lived in that flat in like when I was a kid, so I've been in that flat as a child. So yeah, like I got a connection to the area, I got a connection to kind of the building, but you know the wall, the viewpoints, it's viewed, yeah, like we counted it. I think there was something like it was over 100 cars a minute go past that wall, like it's insane.
Yeah.
And so I've always wanted an interest in the wall, and then I was trying to get it. I can't remember the gentleman's name. But yeah, I've managed to get contact with a guy through like people like Ishi and a few people I knew in the community that got me in contact with a guy, but the guy wouldn't talk to me. So like I got his number, he wouldn't engage with me, and then I'd followed Atik through the internet, never met him. And one day I was in a petrol station, and Atik's like, "You're that guy, shouting at me," and I'm
I
just
can
like,
imagine that. I can
like, you
imagine,
know,
I can see that.
got that energy shouting. I'm like, who's this guy I've never met shouting at me across the forecourt? And then so that was the first time we met. And then on the school, my kids used to go to breakfast club, but then we stopped taking them to breakfast club. So I do the school run in the morning, and then I bumped into him. So we met on the school run, and like we got like he knew who I was, I knew who he was, and then it was just like we got chatting. We live probably less than 5 minutes away from each other, but we'd never met till this day. And then he was like, "Yeah, we should do something together." And I was like, "Oh, I'm really after this wall." I was like the guy, I'm not really getting anywhere. So he said, I know this guy. So he literally rings me. He said, leave it with me. Within 4 hours, he rings me. He said, "Yeah, we've got the wall." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we've got the wall." I was like, "Right, now I need to get some." I was applying for funding at the time, so I managed to get funding from the Arts Council, and it all kind of lined up. But then it took a long time trying to get the right design. We went through, I don't know, 5-6 different ideas. It was trying to find something that was positive. Because it's such a prominent place, we wanted something that would make people feel good.
Yeah, stick out.
And you know, Atik does great work, and it was so we're like, we're doing a collaboration between myself and Atik's brand Unspoken, and that's where it come about. And I say, yeah, it was the 5th or 6th idea we come to before we got to it. So yeah.
And to be honest, if Atik would, you know, if he ever were to represent Atik, it would be through art. He's just that type of character.
Yeah, that's it.
Throw some paintings on a wall, and that's him in a nutshell. So I think you did well to. So what made you choose him? Like, did you have any other candidates potentially?
No, at the time I was just trying to get permission for the wall. Had no sort of I had no idea how we were going to go about it. And so me and Atik literally met on a school run, said like we should do a project together. And I was after this wall, and it evolved from there. And, you know, and then since then I've spent a lot more time with him. I've seen people follow him. I've been involved in his projects, and you know, and he's a very interesting personality. And you know, one thing that always sticks out about Atik for me is like I watched him do a speech in the town hall to a lot of people, and he said, I might get this wrong, so I'm going to say it as it's in my mind. He said he quoted something from the Quran, and he said something like about love thy neighbour, and he said if you look in this room now. It was something about looking after everyone. He said, if you look in this room now, he said, there's more non-Muslims than there are Muslims. And he says, that means I'm doing my job correctly. And that was a real powerful bit of speech for me. And he was right. I looked around that room, and he's like, all these people have come here because of this guy. And I've been sucked into his vortex of and that's it, full of energy. So it just come about. And that was what it was. But yeah, I didn't know I didn't know that's what it was going to be. I didn't know he was the person I was going to meet. But that was how it evolved from there. You know, so yeah.
Fair play. No, it's absolutely brilliant, the work that you've done, especially the one on Atik. We only got a minute or two left before we hit the commercial break. Nathan, what is your realistic goal for the year? You've done quite a few projects. Me and Junaid were speaking about this earlier. What do you have planned for the rest of the year?
This will be my 9th year in business as a company, 6 years full time. I'm just trying to. I can't ever go back to working a normal job, so I'm broken from the system. So it's just trying to create I don't know, just doing more of what I do, and I'd love to travel a bit more. I've painted Dubai, I've painted Saudi Arabia, I've painted all over Europe, I've painted all over UK. As a boy from Eastfield, I spent 3 weeks in Dubai last year painting graffiti every day. I camped in the desert. I painted Saudi Arabia on a top secret project that no one will ever see. Just crazy. I come from Eastfield, and I've painted 2 deserts. It's insane. So I'd love to see a bit more of the world. I've got a few of my friends from Peterborough and moved to Dubai, so I'm I've got enough connections there now. I need to get back there.
I think Nathan's just answered the question then. He is Banksy. Thank you for confirming live on Salam Radio.
We finally found him.
Yeah.
He's here in the studio.
I slipped up. So, yeah.
No, Nathan, honestly, it's been great having you on, and obviously stay for the rest of the show while we introduce Junaid. Guys, if you've got any questions, do call us on 01733 602 133 or give us a text on 07411 191062. Join us right after the commercial break, where we'll be introducing our next guest, Junaid Khalil.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Could you spare a few hours each month to provide support to people who are going through tough times? If so, Peterborough Samaritans are looking for volunteers who are empathetic and open-minded, and we'd love to hear from you. We run regular information sessions where you can find out more about what it means to volunteer for Samaritans. If you are at least 18 years of age and would like to know more, please email volunteer@peterboroughsamaritans.org.
Attention foodies! Discover a world of flavours at Pack Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket in Peterborough. Shop our vast selection of authentic ingredients from around the globe, including spices, marinated fish and meats, and exotic fruits at incredibly low prices. And the best part? We offer free parking. No more hunting for a spot. Come visit us today and explore the incredible range of flavours at Pack Foods, 232 Lincoln Road.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakeinn.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalising variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites, from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5pm till 10:30pm. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
Fancy the true taste of Middle Eastern Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU. Or order through Just Eat, Uber Eats or order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
Discover peace of mind with Islamic wills from W&P Legal and Mariam Khan. Expertly tailored to respect Islamic principles and UK law, ensuring your legacy is honoured. We offer tax-efficient wills, probate, lasting power of attorney and more. Trust us for a culturally sensitive estate plan. Your legacy, our priority. Call W&P Legal now on 01778 252 301.
Visit our website salamradio.co.uk.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. So as you may know, Ramadan is not long away now, around 3 weeks. It's a beautiful time to witness in the run-up to Ramadan, but also having the opportunity to experience the month and the full blessings it brings. One thing for sure, we can prepare on whether it's our namaz, Quran, working on our character. To help me today with this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce my good friend, a Quran Hafiz, Junaid Halil, on the show. Junaid, how are you?
First and foremost, Assalamu alaikum, Shili. It's nice to see you. It's funny how we have to link up on a radio show now. It's a bit busy for me outside the studio. But yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think it's been a hectic, busy day, same as Nathan. Even getting to the studio has been a bit of a nightmare with the traffic. But no, alhamdulillah, we're good. We're good.
Good stuff.
So Junaid, obviously we brought you here again just to kind of understand more about Ramadan, what it's like for you, what people can do, the do's and the don'ts, etc. So, like I mentioned, Ramadan is literally right around the corner for us. How is the preparation coming along for you? And do you have set routines you follow every year?
So in terms of a routine, I don't think you can really have one, just because with it being a lunar sort of calendar event,
yeah,
it obviously differing times, the fasts, they open at a different time, they close at a different time. If anything, it's sort of easier when it's at this time, because the clocks haven't gone back yet. You can sort of wake up in the morning, normal time, 6, half 6, you can pray, and then you can sort of carry on up until, you have to do your normal day to day. But in terms of preparation, like I said, there isn't really much you can do. I guess it's just trying to start praying and getting up at that time in the mornings now, so your body clock sort of gets used to it, and you're not one of them with your eyes half closed trying to drink a glass of water in a plate. Do you know what I mean? One of them where, you know what I mean, Chidi, you've been there before. We've all been there. But no, it's just trying to, I suppose, sort of start reading again just beforehand, and to just start praying, so to sort of get yourself in that momentum, because then naturally, if you don't start praying, you'll feel a bit of guilt. Oh, why have I missed this namaz? But I mean, each their own, everyone prepares differently, but for myself, it's just sort of carrying on praying, so I'm into that routine beforehand.
Yeah, no, fair play. And I hope, our listeners are take away some key points from Junaid here. We have a wide range of listeners who would want to work on the recitation of the Quran. What's the best way of someone seeking to learn from scratch, or even making sure recitation is accurate as possible? I, for one, had to learn a few years ago because I just knew there was actually a couple of words, phrases that I didn't really know if it was correct or not. And I think I actually sat with yourself at one point.
Yeah, I remember.
So just in your understanding, how does one seek to better themselves?
So if I'm honest, you'll know better, but the sort of guidars you get nowadays, the Madani guidars, they've got the pronunciation down to the T. So when we used to read, there was, none of this color-coded and, you have to pronounce a certain letter in a certain way. So the new Madani guidars, if anyone out there is looking to sort of get back into it, I'd highly recommend them, only because now, from my own experience of my little cousins that, have completed that and now reading the Quran, the jump for there hasn't been that big. They've sort of carried on with it and been able to carry on reading. They've not sort of struggled on it. Whereas back in our day, it was sort of leading you onto it, but there wasn't as much in terms of the pronunciations, what the certain rulings are, when you should sort of stop, with the ayah at the end. But I think they've made it a lot easier now. And even nowadays, you can sort of YouTube it.
Yeah.
If you're unsure about a certain spara or unsure about a certain surah, jump on YouTube, listen to some of the reciters, Sheikh Sudais, the Masjid Nabawi reciters. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, fair play. And, I know, you have taught both kids and adults during the month of Ramadan, and saying that adults may feel a tad bit embarrassed of reaching out to teachers to ask for help, especially if they're above a certain age. What would your advice be for anyone wanting to reach out but kind of feel embarrassed, even though they don't need to feel embarrassed, but, telling, someone at a certain age, go back to Qaeda or but even,
it's a pride.
Yeah.
I think if they're embarrassed to do it sort of locally and they don't want to reach out to anyone local, then you get a lot of sort of online tutors. So if they feel like they couldn't, not face someone in the community, but let's just say they don't want it to be known, maybe get in touch with someone externally, someone online, someone that can sort of offer them that online advice rather than... to be honest, I know a couple of brothers, probably about 10 or 15 off the top of my head, that actually went through that. They started from scratch, started again. And actually, if you listen to the way that they read and some of the elders that are their age now, it's completely different. You can tell that these guys are sort of new school and they've gone through the new sort of form of training, if you like, form of education. Whereas obviously with the older ones, they'll have their, sort of tune, the way that they read, pronunciation. So if anyone's looking back into it, it's never too late. But like I said, I even know a couple of Hafiz that sort of went off the rails a little bit, didn't really keep up to it, and started again at the age of 30, 35, started again, went over it all, recited, learnt it properly, and alhamdulillah, they've got the strongest manzil that I know. So I guess it's just a case of just look past the arrogance, look past the pride, and just get back onto it. Push yourself out your comfort zone, and you won't regret it.
That's the thing, isn't it? It is the pride and the arrogance and even the ego where, you should be going back on it to correct it, but you don't. You just kind of leave it for years and years and years. I think we all know people who don't want to kind of jump back in the deep end, etc. But they don't realize it's not a deep end. You can take baby steps again in your own privacy of your own home. You don't need to be out there in the world.
I promise you, no one will ever judge. In anything you do, it's not just going back into that. I know people that gone back to uni at the age of 40, sort of stepped out of their comfort zone and sort of wished well afterwards.
Yeah. No, mashallah, these are really interesting points. And guys, if anyone has any questions for Junaid here today, do give us a call on 01733 602 133 or give us a text on 07411191062 or comment on the live stream on Facebook. We are reading the messages, so definitely do pop your questions along. Junaid, obviously, as the topic is Ramadan, and Nathan, you may know a bit about Ramadan too, especially growing up in the Millfield area. What is it that you enjoy the most about Ramadan? Obviously, the whole month is blessed, but are there any specifics? It could be the food, it could be culture, it could be, growing up with Asian lads, they had set routines. You think, wow, that's amazing, or that's different, so.
Yeah, saving money on lunch. No, I haven't spent £5 on lunch today. That adds well.
You double it when you open it for iftar.
Yeah, but it's all right. It sort of evens itself out. I think the biggest thing for me, Shili, is sort of the bringing the community together. So it's nice to see so many faces in the mosque, faces that you may not normally see on a daily basis. And there's a sort of common interest between you all, that you're all fasting for the same purpose. And I guess the true meaning of Ramadan in a nutshell is equality. Everyone is the same, no matter how much money you've got in your bank, no matter where you live, what you drive, we're all one under God's eyes during that month. So it sort of brings you back down to earth. It makes you learn to sort of humble yourself and sort of, learn the message of what Ramadan is about. It's not just about not eating or drinking. It's about sort of spiritually reconnecting, recharging yourself. And just remember the purpose for, what we keep our fasts for. Because I'm sure you've seen on the Ramadan calendars, things that break your fast, things that So it's just a case of stopping bad habits, trying to get into good habits, and again, just sort of bringing everyone together. I don't know about you guys, but we try and sort of after work, everyone has sort of hectic lifestyles, but we try and sit down in the evening and eat together where we can. Obviously, if we can't, people sort of do it at different times. But with Ramadan, because everyone's fasting, it's nice to sort of sit around the table with your family, sort of having a laugh and joke, breaking your fasts with them. And not to mention sort of the trips out to places like Leicester and Manchester for a good old iftar. We've all been there. Don't act like you haven't. We've all been there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for the listeners at home who don't know what iftar is the opening of the fast, so the meal. And usually you eat at home, but sometimes you might want to go out with your family and friends to a nice restaurant, etc. So no, it's absolute beautiful month. Is amazing vibe. I think when I go to the mosque, I try to go obviously every day. People that you haven't seen all year, you'll bump into them. It's just that place. Whether people are practicing or not for Ramadan, everyone makes that extra effort. And it's absolutely amazing. It's like, think of a month where all good deeds are happening. People try to compete. We want to be doing this in charity. We want to be doing this. And it's just an absolutely amazing feeling. Janae, I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Oh, God.
Do you have any good Ramadan stories you wish to share with our listeners?
Have I got any?
I know earlier before we spoke, you said, yeah, put me on the spot. I can jump off this. My brain works like that. We'll put you on the spot live now. So,
it's not so much personal story for myself, but he was actually an associate director at the time that we used to work with. Chile, you might know him. And the fact that through work that we did and sort of conversations that we had at work, he then kept a full sort of 3 or 4 fasts off the back of that, because he was like, he always showed an interest in it. And then we used to have conversations at work on a daily basis. Like, this is during Ramadan, so you used to say, oh, one of them, oh, not even water. No, not even water. And then I think it's the way you show yourself. So he really liked the idea of it.
Yeah.
He liked the idea of everyone being sort of equal, everyone sort of, in sort of cliche terms, eats off the same plate. So he then actually kept a few, and at the end of it, he actually said he felt a lot more humble and remembered that, he'll turn into dust one day. So I think it's nice knowing that by doing what we did and having the conversations that we had, he then sort of went ahead and kept a few and sort of got the real understanding. So for us, obviously, it's in our nature, it's in our blood, it's sort of been etched into our brain. But for him to do it, voluntarily, completely, was nice to see.
No, fair play. There's quite a few things that I remember about Ramadan. I think mine is probably the charity work, the Cakes for Syria.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh, mate.
Yes. So you must have had a few, Nathan. the chocolate cakes. Atif used to do them. You used to do them.
Yeah. Ours was the chocolate fudge cakes. And it's basically, again, for charity. And we'll pick them up from Leicester, and then we'll do deliveries. Again, it's voluntary and stuff. And at first, we used to do hundreds and hundreds of deliveries. And this was like every 3-4 days. And even Ishfaq Ali, who's commented, he was one of the guys who was actually helping us. This is part of Islamic Relief Charity. I don't think for a good few years, there's probably some days where I opened the fast at home. The rest of the time, I was continuously going out. I remember once someone ordered all the way from Hunstanton side. And I'm thinking, oh, mate, I've got like half an hour or I think 45 minutes left. I really can't be out. I'm really tired. Then it was like 9:30, the fast was opening. Travelled all the way there, and he's so excited. He goes, yeah, I got my cake on time, etc. I thought, oh, jackpot. And then he goes, oh, you should let me know. I was coming to Peterborough anyway.
But you went to the beach, did you?
At that time, I was like, you can imagine the thoughts that were going through my head. I'm like, mate, if I see you, not now, but see you soon. But yeah, I just remember that story. It was just a long drive, and he literally drove back. He came to Peterborough.
Do you know what? It's a case of it's energy that you don't know you have. So do you know the sort of time frame between sort of Asr and Maghrib? Where you're really standing on your last legs. Sometimes you get that surge of energy that you've never sort of experienced before. Yeah. And I think that's what Ramadan's about. So I see people still go in gym, people still play football, carry on with their sort of regular day to day, and that's how it should be. So, it's not a case of sort of not doing certain things because it is. So I think you should carry on with your day to day at the same time.
No, fair play. I know obviously we were speaking about Ramadan, but me and Shaz, I don't know if you see our show a few weeks ago, we started talking about the 90s in terms of things that were different. As soon as I mentioned 90s to people, everyone just, has their own vision. It's like reminisce. And it's a great feeling to think about the 90s. And, having grown up with yourself, Junaid, and also the same area as you, Nathan, what do you guys miss the most about growing up in the 90s? I just want to throw a couple of things out there. Like for me, it was the street cricket. When I mean street cricket, I mean bat ball, middle of the road, don't care how many cars are there. After school, you're playing street cricket. The football, telling Junaid this just before you come, the far throws. Right. So one guy standing one side of the street, right the other side, and we're throwing it, and we can still see the tennis balls
in the guttering and on the roof of people's gardens.
Exactly, and the whole buzz was, no one really minded. The whole neighborhood will come out and join us, and play street cricket or football. And I mean, everyone from old blocks would just come and just enjoy the moment. What is it that kind of you guys? What excites you thinking about the 90s? Come on, guys, don't hold back. I mean, you got listeners here.
With what you're saying about sports, like over Eastfield, where my mum's side, a sport we always used to play in the nights was curbsy.
Oh, curbsy.
Yes.
I want curbs. Why is curbsy not an Olympic sport? like pre-made curbs and my kids do not know what curbsy is. I don't see kids play it, and I'm like. I want to play that again, but I don't know if there's a safe street without
That's it. Just off the back of that, I think it's back then you could trust your child to go out and sort of play safely and not get into sort of mischief in that sense. So like Hankey Street car park for us, Shilly, the 10-inch we played football there. Our juniors didn't really care, but it was a case of there was that trust within the community, knowing that you could go in that car park, have a good game of football or cricket, and not get approached by people like Nathan. I'm joking. No, just not get approached and not sort of fall into the wrong crowd, because it was also then it was a respect thing. So I don't know about you, but being scared of your parents was a big thing. Knowing that if I get caught doing this or if I get seen doing this, good luck to me when I get home. So I think it's just the generation we grew up in. I think it was a lot safer. You were like, I don't know about now, but like Nathan, if you let your kids go out on the street now, do you have a little bit of doubt in your mind?
We don't let. Mine are 7 and 10, but they don't.
Quite young.
They don't go out anywhere. But I don't think I would anymore. Yeah, it's. You say there's that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I've heard it a lot more as I got older, and I grew up in the council estate where I spent most of my time. It's like my grandma lived here. We knew the neighbour. We knew the people at the end of the street. Like the whole street knew everybody. Everyone looked out for each other's children. I'm not sure I feel that way, particularly as I've got older, and I've moved to different places. I feel it's not the same as what I once knew. But yeah, I grew up I live in a completely different place to where I grew up. So it's a different environment. But even when I first moved out of my mum's house, I didn't have the same relationship with neighbours which I was used to growing up. Like people don't talk. If you move to somewhere new, people don't talk to each other as much now. Like it's like you might nod or like that's it. But I think people are more reserved to engage with people that around you. It's
a shame, because that's what your childhood was about. So the biggest thing for us is, if your ball went over, you could knock on the door, and because you'd have a relationship with that neighbour anyway.
I used to jump over. That was the best.
It depends if they had a dog over. If they had a dog, you're not jumping over.
Oh yeah.
You're not jumping over.
I said, my mate then. Don't tell about the dog, say jump over. Oh no, that's brilliant. Even speak to kids now, just saying to them, the games of like Tig Tag or hide and seek. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know these kind of games. Everything's all digital. I remember we used to play hide and seek. I used to go hide, but no one ever used to come find me. So I used to be just stay there.
Did you not get the hint?
I know.
I think he stayed hidden.
I kind of set myself up for that.
He was 3 years. He was hidden in the same spot. Were you not a bit worried when no one come looking for you?
I didn't click on it. Oh, mate, those are absolutely amazing memories. And now it's like, I say to my nephew and nieces, go out, go with your mates, obviously, as long as you're comfortable. Back then, we were told to stay inside because we were going out too much.
Yeah.
Just feels like times have changed, and those are the memories that you're going to remember the most, etc. Not just on a laptop or an iPad these days.
Yeah, so I think in the internet's changed everything. Like, there's so much information available through a phone now, for good and bad. And it's just, this is it. When I was younger, I just to go knock at my mate's door and ask, can he come play out? Like, Whereas I don't, now they just text each other like or whatever. It's that you don't go knock at someone's door anymore like you used to. Especially when I was a kid, go around and you might have to knock at 4 or 5 of your friends' houses to get a little crew to go out and play out in the street. Whereas now it'd just be done phone, internet. So
we used to play football at Johnson's Field, so behind Cromwell Road, Glasson Street, and at Borgies as well before it turned into the primary school. And it was one of them where, you didn't have WhatsApp groups. It was just, right, we play here Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, you're here. And they're the best memories because it wasn't ever sort of planned per se, but everyone knew at this time you're playing football. And this is, so I'm obviously a lot younger than my uncle, but this is where I got to know a lot more people in the community too. And by doing HIFs and stuff, it made it a lot more easier, sort of going to people for advice, speaking to people that were sort of 10 years older than me. So I feel like that helped with HIFs because it helped me mature a lot quicker. And I felt sort of safe around them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. Just on the back of you saying you used to play football, we used to play in the hanky field, and we used to play cricket. And I remember once we started realizing there's other kids out there, who also play cricket and football. We thought we'd have competitions, and we used to have like a little gang. And one of our guys, Gafar, how do you know him? He's probably listening to this radio, he might kill me for this. But once he took it seriously, thought, let's take a next step. This guy was like a training freak. He was on boxing and everything. Yeah. So he took us all to another park. We done press-ups, we went for a run, we done star jumps, all because of a cricket match. Right. We done so much training. I think we done about 2-3 hours worth of training before the cricket match. We come, face the team, we got bowled out for 7. We were battered, honestly. We were battered. We lost horribly, and that was it. It was a job done. We never ever went through that training routine with him again. Yeah, it's like, no, that's probably what I don't miss of the 90s. But no, honestly, Nathan, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on. Junaid, also, there's a lot of advice that we've taken on board, and I hope our listeners have too. So there you are, folks. Week 5 off in the Spotlight series. I hope you enjoyed today's insight of what our show is bringing here on 106.2 FM Slam Radio. It is exciting. We do want the viewers to actively engage with us, whether it's calling us on 01733 602 133. If you're watching live on Facebook, drop us a message and let us know what you're thinking. If you have a story to share or want to nominate someone to have a platform, get in touch. We're ready to listen, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be next in the Spotlight very soon. Actually, just to give you a heads up, next week we actually have Peterborough United, so Posh, in the studio, live in the studio. So they're going to be great guests. They're going to be talking about football events, but also the stadium iftar we're doing for this year during Ramadan. So once again, thank you to our special guest, Nathan, for coming on the show, and also Junaid. This is your host, Shafeel. This is In the Spotlight. We're going to leave you guys with a special performance by Junaid for Nasheeds. Good night, folks. Assalamu alaikum.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل هول من الأهوال مكتهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا أكرم الخلق ما لي من علو به سواك إن داهل للحديث أمامي مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم
واغفر إلهي لكل المسلمين بما يطلون في المسجد الأقصى وفي الحرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين وثقلين محمد سيد الكونين وثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن أجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.